And I'm going to be live streaming all day, so be sure to like, share.
Jackson.
We are talking hashtag float, and this one is written, directed and produced by Zach Locke. Now this is Zach Locke's first directorial debut, but he has had an extensive history as a producer. So that kind of the money man, that kind of like the executive decisions, and this is now being let loose to direct a movie. And how did that turn out? Well, we'll discuss. So this one is about a group of friends, one of which is a vlogger, played by an apparent real-life vlogger called Kate Mayhew, I believe. And they are going to this kind of a river excursion. And they have gone there every year, and the last year one of their friends died there, and they're kind of scattering his ashes in the river, as you do. So there's 6 of them, plus 2 of the friends actually have a kind of a young daughter, which they bring as well. So they go there, but they're warned off by this kind of creepy old dude that the river wants them. But they, of course, ignore these warnings. And these Gen Zers then head out into the water on various kind of flotation devices, going along, but something does seem to be after them. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to say this review is going to be a bit spoilery, because I have to discuss some plot points in my critique. I will not be, I'll try and be as vague as I can, but I have to address some things to be able to give you my full thoughts on this one. So I'm just telling you now. Now this movie is much maligned. It has been critically panned by pretty much everyone. All the reviews that I've seen, I haven't seen a review that is remotely positive about this film. And there is many issues with this, which we're going to discuss. But I'm going to tell you things that I think maybe worked, or at least were acceptable in this movie. And then we'll get into it. So what works? What was okay? I think the movie is competently shot. It's not outstanding, but it is competently shot. There are some technical elements, there's some horrible editing in it. There's a couple of audio, like a bad ADR and stuff, but it's competently, put together in regards to, camera shots, cinematography, things like this. So competently to put together on a technical level. Now, here's one thing where I feel I'm going to be a little bit controversial. I have seen a lot of critiques about the acting, saying it was terrible acting. I actually don't think that is the case. I think people are confusing bad acting with bad writing and bad direction. Because the characters are horribly written and at times poorly directed, but I don't think the acting is terrible. It isn't brilliant, and there are a couple of instances where it's not brilliant and not great, but for the most part I didn't think the acting was terrible. I thought it was okay for the kind of like the movie that it presents. I didn't think the actors were at fault here necessarily. But there is a lot of critique about the bad acting. But like I've said, I actually don't think that is the case. I think people are confusing bad acting with bad characters in the way they're constructed. So bear that in mind. I mean, I'm not gonna, not gonna lie. The acting isn't Oscar worthy or anything like that, but it isn't as bad as I think some people make out to be. And I think actually I've seen far worse acting. I thought the performances for a low budget horror movie were as standard as you kind of see in most kind of like, straight to streaming films. It is fine. The acting is fine. The movie tries to have a mystery, and this is part of the problem here, but there is a little bit of a mystery about what is going on. There is one good gore shot in it, and one okay jump scare. But I am stretching, as you can probably tell. But I like to try and be, you know, play devil's advocate on both sides. So, but let's transition into what doesn't work. And this is where it's going to be a little bit spoilery, because let me just go straight into that, and then we'll kind of go into some more specifics. What is this movie about? I couldn't tell you. You know, because the movie is so ill-defined about what you are actually watching. Let me just say, again, spoiler warning, you do not know by the end of this movie what the actual hell is going on. There is something that is killing these people. We don't know if it's a creature, we don't know if it's a ghost, we don't know if it's some type of other supernatural kind of entity, or even if it's a human. We don't know. It never actually shows you. You never see this force on screen. The best you get is a silhouette right at the end, and it looks like a guy under like a sheet. And that is it. That is it. That is what is apparently killing, and it's something to do with the river. We don't know why. We don't know what the, you know, how, and we get a line that says, oh, it'll be okay next year. Why is that okay next year? We don't know. Why hasn't it been prior to this? Nothing. We know nothing. And I understand the movie maybe is trying to give you a somewhat of a mystery, but like I said, you like, what are you watching? You don't really know. I mean, are you watching a slasher film? Are you watching a creature feature? I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you. It doesn't even really give you a hint. There's just something. And then there's other elements in this movie that also don't make any sense. And again, well, we have this kind of guy who warns people off. Is he a ghost? Because we see him and he's like, he's there in one shot, the light will go out, then he's kind of somewhere else, the light will go out and he's kind of right in front of him. Things like that, you know, they're kind of like, oh, he's some type of ghost. But then he's driving a truck and he gets bludgeoned to death. What? So who is he? I mean, what is he? What is he? What relation has he got to the river? You know, why is he, you know, why is he trying to help these people? How long has he been? Don't know. Nothing. Nothing. No answers are given. You know, why does he look like a complete mess? Why does he look all like gnarly? Don't know. Don't know. All right. Okay. Is there anything else? Yeah. Boy, there is. So I've mentioned I think the acting is fine, but I think people are conflating the acting with the poor way that these characters are written. And let me tell you, these characters are poorly written. I mean, I have critiqued movies in the past for the unrealistic depictions of fear and the way, you know, characters react in horror films compared to how they would react in real life. Very briefly, if you watch a prank video and then you see someone getting scared, presuming that wasn't kind of like one that was set up, that is how people act in fear in real life. Look at every horror film, very rarely do people act like that. So you kind of get this Hollywood version of, you know, people kind of being somewhat non-reactive, or at least not as reactive as they are in real life. Now this one takes this to the extreme, because our characters are so non-reactive. So let me give you an example. I'll give you a couple of examples. So we have a character that gets killed, right? Off screen, but one of the group finds their body, runs back, oh my god, so-and-so's dead. And they're all like, oh my god, someone's just died. And this is one of their friends. This is one of their friends. Oh, you know, someone's just died. Let's give it a minute. Let's just go back on our flotation devices and chill out and be a bit sad about it. I know, he's been stabbed. And the little kid's missing. Let's just kind of run off into the woods. Let's one person run off in the woods. Oh, geez, it's like, you know, there's this complete, like, unrealistic to the extreme the way that these characters are written. Even smaller elements. There's a sequence where there's two characters on the kind of like the shore, and one of them ends up kind of getting dragged by something into the kind of the water, but they're reasonably into shore, so it's dragged along the beach. The other one's kind of like can easily kind of grab them, but somehow manages not to, and then kind of grabs them. This other person's getting dragged away relatively slowly, and this other guy just can't like hold on. It's like, oh my god, it's just like, it's terrible. And then we get a scene where a character gets wounded. This is towards the end, and he's gushing blood, and another character literally just stands there and does nothing. I mean, it's just the character motivations, the way they're written, and then the way they're directed is just terrible. This is possibly some of the worst examples I've seen of this. So it's just like horrible kind of the way that these situations are raised, are just filmed in a horrible manner, and they're just written and kind of directed in such a horrible manner. And like I said, I think the actors are catching a lot of flack for this, but I don't think it's actually their fault for the most part. But the general story, as I say, you don't really know what's going on. These characters are very kind of like your typical kind of Gen Z or Gen Z. I know most of you are from America, and therefore, as a Gen X, kind of hard to root for to a certain degree. Our main girl, her main thing she wants to do is just her vlog, despite all the crap that's going on around her. Oh, have you got an iPhone charger? She says to the guy after like all of her friends have been killed. And then even like really small things like this is like, she uploads the videos and then instantly there's comments. Not even time for people to watch the video, things like this. Oh god, it's just like I said, there's horrible editing. There's a sequence where you've got two people running around in the woods, and it's edited in a way you don't know where they are. You can't tell like where they are in relation to one another, how far away they are from their friends. Why is it taking so long for when you go out there, they don't seem very far away, but they seem to just take forever to come back. It's just an awful film, to be honest. But I will say I don't think the acting is as bad as other people will lead you to believe. So it's a 2 out of 10. It's pretty poor. Pretty poor. Hashtag float. Or floater, I should say. 2 out of 10. Have you seen this movie? What did you think of it? Please do let me know, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time.